Okay, so we'll look at Mass Effect Andromeda at 21/9. This game did not receive a great response on release, and unfortunately many of the issues people had with it continue and probably will continue for a long time, if not forever, to fill the game. However, it isn't all bad. With a gorgeous set of graphics and an intriguing story intertwined nicely with multiplayer, it does still have a good bit going for it. So the game does support 21/9 natively. This was a feature EA pointed out in the lead up to the launch, however I don't think they fully know what ultra-wide support is. But yeah, for the most part the game does work well with 21/9 screens. Gameplay correctly shows off more on the sides of the screen with no specific pop-in or lighting issues associated with the ultra-wide view, and there is an FOV slider to select your perfect view, and this works for 21/9 perfectly. The FOV slider and ultra-wide support applies to both third-person exploration and third-person shooting, as well as from vehicles. There are two types of cutscenes, 21/9 ones, which are the minority, and 16/9 ones with black bars. The choices for these moments though appear to be random, as for exactly the same situation, for example where you're talking to someone and given choices to branch the conversation, this could be both black barred or ultra wide. How this choice is made, I don't know. However, there is a fix for these black barred cutscenes through Flawless Widescreen, but currently you need to manually add it to Flawless Widescreen, but I'm sure it'll be natively added later. So when that is the case, you can just ignore these extra modding steps and just use the native version of Flawless Widescreen. I'll link to it in the description. But for now, just download the link in the description, extract the two files within, then put them into your Flawless Widescreen file directory, overwriting the files there when prompted, and you're good to go. Massive thanks to Heliax for this fix. Link to the source of this mod and to him in the description, and of course I'll have steps on what to do anyway there as well. Oh, and I should also point out, you do obviously need to have Flawless Widescreen already installed before you attempt this fix. The main menu is 21/9 with elements shifting to the sides, and the pop-up box with settings information remains exactly like at 16/9, but just shows off more of the background on the sides, so yeah, it works perfectly. In-game menus are a mixture of 21/9 and 16/9 with black bars, though due to these menu designs you can't really tell that they're black barred, simply that the elements are locked to 16/9. The map is ultra-wide, correctly displaying mapped areas in the extra screen space, but locking the map element icons to 16/9. Performance-wise, it runs well. I have no issues here. At 3440 by 1440 on a GTX 1080, I was running medium settings and would fluctuate around the 60s to the 90s frame rate-wise, and never below 60, so yeah, no problems here. Yes, there is visible pop-in in places with these settings, but it's not obnoxious, and whilst the game certainly doesn't look as beautiful as it does at ultra settings, it still looks great. There is an annoying issue with the FOV where you can't change the FOV level independently from aiming down the sights and when just in exploration mode. This is frustrating as aiming down the sights is extremely restrictive, and I was always uncomfortable playing this view due to the fact that I felt I couldn't see my surroundings at any point. This really could do with a patch. On this line, there is no separate sensitivity for aiming down the sights either. Again, just an overall setting, and I would have really liked a far lower level for ADSing, as it moves far too quickly, but then I needed the speed for when I'm just wandering around otherwise. Now, this game certainly cannot avoid the flack it's been getting for its animations. They truly are horrendous, and what's worse is there are times when they are completely lacking any animation. You just have characters talking blankly to one another about serious news or the like, and they're just like stiff cardboard, and it ruins the whole moment. Add weak as hell voice acting into the mix, and yeah, every character in this game is uninspired and lacking any quality to its acting or development, I'm afraid. On this tangent, there are a good number of bugs in the game, nothing game-breaking or overly serious that I found, but yeah, you will likely run into your fair share, even little things like your footprints appearing well behind your actual foot and such, like just stuff that needs polishing up. So as I said, this game does have an intriguing story that should allow it to be epic. You've travelled over 400 years to a set of golden worlds in a far-off part of the universe, the area of which is called Andromeda, and you're set about colonising these worlds, only to discover a lot has changed in those 400 years you've been travelling. The planets are a shadow of their former selves, and the setup that was supposed to have been done before you arrived has been somewhat lacking. All this story that is told to you over the first few hours of the game is fantastic, and I was totally hooked, and I suppose I still am after 8 hours of playtime. I certainly have a lot of questions. But what is stopping me from finding out that information and unraveling the story is the gameplay is just too poor. So the idea is you can discover multiple different worlds and you're free to travel between them and discover their secrets and mine them and fight the many enemies that cover them, but I totally agree with the general consensus that this game has been hurt badly by the attempt to make it open world. I wouldn't exactly call it open world either in the true sense that it has a world bristling with huge detail and quality of stuff to do. Instead it's more, there are a good few bits littered about a large expanse of nothing. Now, I don't have anything wrong with that, as you are supposed to have been coming to these brand new planets to colonize them and make them livable, so I wouldn't expect much to be there. But it's things like the fact that you must drive everywhere in your useless 6-wheeled vehicle that, for no sensible reason other than the fact that they wanted to make it have a feature beyond driving forward and back, needs to switch to a 6-wheel drive mode in order to get up random sections of the map. Just, why was this needed? My main gripe though is the scanning. The endless god awful could you be more boring and scan every object in the game. Just why? What on earth made them think this was a good idea? The last thing I want to do is stare at a little box and press A over and over until they say something. Anyway, to sum it up, the game suffers from the massive issue with Ubisoft and EA games. Tons of useless filler, nothing of quality, nothing we want to genuinely do around the actual story, but just stuff they thought they'd put in, otherwise the game would be too simple. When will they learn? This boring stuff means I'll never finish this game. In fact, I doubt I'll play more than what I've played for you guys to give you an idea of what to expect. It simply feels like they're trying their best to burn your time away over pointless shill. Anyway, enough said. The other design choice I won't labour as I know it's been talked about plenty, but that is firstly the ridiculous choice of menu design. Navigating this mess of folders is unbelievably confusing and again a waste of time. And further on this point, crafting in this is another mess that just needs an overhaul. It's overly complicated and again, waste your time doing menial jobs. The choice of controls is another ridiculous thought process from designers who decided to map the holster your weapon button to the select button on the controller. What game does that? Furthermore, whoever came up with the design of the aliens in this must be the most unimaginative designer around. Seriously, we travelled across the universe to brand new planets, only to come across aliens who are essentially identical to humans with tiny minor tweaks to them to make them aliens. But making something with a few less fingers and purple, who has a photographic memory, doesn't scream cool and interesting. I bet if you ask anyone who plays the game to name their favourite alien, and they won't be able to do it because none of them make you go, whoa, I've never imagined a design like that. I want to see aliens that have evolved on planets with far greater gravitational fields than ours, that have been in atmospheres with completely different gaseous makeups, which have shaped evolving life into fascinating weird creatures. Anyway, I just found that annoying, and the fact that they all talk with American or Indian or British accents exacerbates my annoyance. I won't go into massive detail on these last few points, but I need to say them anyway. The game is a cheese fest. This is one of the cheesiest games I've played in a long time. The lines that are constantly being fired out when you're walking about, the idiotic AI constantly remarking on blatantly obvious actions or things in the environment and trying to make jokes 24/7. There isn't a moment where someone isn't trying to crack a joke, and it wouldn't be so horrendous if there was anything funny said, but there literally never is. I haven't laughed once in 8 hours of joke cracking and stupid remarks, and it really is wearing on your desire to play the game. There is also a lot of standing about and listening to audio tracks, like a lot of this. It's how they expect you to learn about the past and what is going on, and it's just not done in a smart or fun way. Multiplayer is a big positive, however. I really enjoyed playing with 3 other people to fight off hordes of aliens, and I most certainly recommend it. Certainly it appears good thought was put into making the multiplayer side fleshed out with good customization and stuff to do, with a great link into the single player where you complete multiplayer missions in order to recover research and the like. is a big positive to the game as a whole. The only issue, and you can see it in the gameplay I'm sure, is with the horrendously laggy controls to weapons. Getting any accuracy to shooting is a nightmare and kills the fun factor. So whilst multiplayer is a lot of fun, it's being dragged down by a stupid design choice. And no, don't say I should be using a mouse and keyboard. We're on PC for a reason to have the choice. Okay, so I know it seems like I'm bashing the game relentlessly, but that is because there is a lot bad about it. But there are a good few bits you should remember. The story, the music, and parts of the gameplay, and multiplayer. But all in all, this cannot by any means get a recommendation from me, and I recommend getting any other title on the market instead. It's nothing like the previous games, and just falls down in too many places to be worth your money, in my view. I'm going to give it a WideAsFcuk score of 4. It does thankfully support 21.9 brilliantly. I hope that gives you some information on how the game runs at 21.9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful and subscribe for future info. For any of the games at 21.9, head over to my channel or the WideAsFcuk website. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to support the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description and Amazon affiliate links are there too. See you later.
Stay on that path. Amateurs? Shuttle incoming. Get to the extraction zone.